This week, there's been a lot of news for Microsoft Flight Simulator. With the UK being announced for the next world update, VR has a release date, and many future developments such as helicopters now have an estimated release window. So, Asobo recently conducted their monthly AMA with Microsoft, offering up a whole load of new information on the current status and future direction of Microsoft Flight Simulator. I'm going to dive right into that then, but let's start with some very interesting things. So let's quickly talk about the VR release date. This update will be free to all owners of Microsoft Flight Simulator and will be arriving on the 23rd of December. The update will support all popular VR headsets. Meanwhile, Asobo have announced that the UK is the focus for the next world update. As we know, the world updates bring new terrain data, dozens of custom points of interest and landmarks, tours and bush trips, among many other things. The UK World Update is currently scheduled for a January release, and we'll talk a bit more about that further into the video. One of the most interesting parts, for me at least, on the latest development update and also on the AMA is the new wishlist. Previously, this has been a huge list of community requests with no attached date to them. Now obviously Asobo can't give exact dates on content that is far into the future, but they have nonetheless now placed a year for expected release on some of these requests, and this is nice as it gives us an indicator on when things are likely to happen. Sure, some of these are far into the future, but having this information is much better than having no information at all. So you can find a link to the full wishlist in the video description, but I'll briefly go over a few items that really stand out for me. Also, keep in mind that as we get closer to a release for any of these, Asobo will further define or redefine the actual release window down to a specific quarter and then eventually a specific month. Replay functionality then is set for 2021. Work on multiple screens has started, but this will be released somewhere between 2021 and 2022. Opening up the weather system to third parties is not planned. South Korea update is set for 2022. Helicopters, and yes, this is a big one. I certainly want to see helicopters myself, but this is set for 2022. So Asobo do say there's a lot of work that's got to go into these. They will need help to produce helicopters and all the associated physics, so it is quite a long way out. Now trains, which are a missing ground feature, they really would add a lot to the environment and the feel of the game. The sim have a date of 2022 to 2023. And here's a really nice one, much needed too. Beta tests for all patch updates are going to be a thing starting either in Q1 or Q2 of 2021. Now we all know that most updates do fix a huge amount of things, but they also so far have come with more than their fair share of issues. So a wider public test for these is certainly a great thing. Water masks have been a big question ever since Flight Simulator released. These are the beautiful water areas with coral water that we see in trailers. Now many of these do actually exist in the game, and you've seen them in a previous video of mine where I've compared trailers to the current builds. And you can actually track down the locations already in the sim. However, some of the locations that Microsoft have shown in trailers with coral water are not actually in the sim right now, and this topic came up in the AMA, and I'm glad that Asobo actually went out their way to address it. Basically, the water masks are updated all the time on a continually rolling basis. The ones in the trailer are currently in dev builds, but not in the live build. A new round of water masks are about to be pushed out to the live build very soon. So the bottom line here is that these get pushed out on a regular basis. The next round will not update all water masks right across the entire planet, but it will add a bunch of new ones. The point then is that this is an ongoing process. The next round will basically contain more or less everything that is in the current trailers. On that point, the content in trailers is usually a build or two ahead of the current live release, so that addresses the question of why some things look better in trailers than in the release version. Asobo said it can take up to a month or more for the live build to catch up with what is shown in trailers, and this is really good information to have as it lets us clearly know what is going on. Bottom line, for those few people out there who felt Microsoft were being deceptive with the trailers, it turns out that that isn't the case. Now a final point on water masks. As they get updated around the world, We as simmers obviously don't know where to go to find these. So in order to address this, Asobo have said they will put together a map indicating which areas have been updated. So this certainly is a list or a map that's going to be worth looking out for in the future. Sim Update 2 is set for release around the 23rd of December. This will contain a whole bunch of features, which of course includes the VR update. This will be open to all popular VR headsets, which also includes Oculus headsets. The other large focus for the update is airliners, and this will include two tutorials for the Airbus A320, which is certainly going to be most welcome. Personally, I'm more of a general aviation pilot, so some airliner tutorials are going to be extremely useful for me, and I'm sure many other people out there as well. World Update 3 will contain new terrain maps and aerial data for Scotland, England and Wales. Asobo are also trying to push for Northern Ireland and hoping to get the entire of Ireland as well, but it seems as though that's a case of having to wait and see what goes on with that. Additionally, the update will contain between 50 and 60 new points of interest right across the country. No details just yet on what these are going to be. In terms of architecture, and as many of you will know, each country has its own unique architectural elements. Black Shark AI, who are behind the AI generation of architecture, are hopefully going to be working on churches and cathedrals. It seems this isn't entirely guaranteed at the moment, but it looks like it is on the agenda. And getting churches and cathedrals would certainly be a huge deal architectural wise for the UK. Also expect to see some new landing challenges in the update. And now for all of you out there that love video game history, you'll very likely be aware of the excellent YouTube channel called NoClip. These guys have over the years done some amazing documentaries on various development studios and games. The documentaries are all very well produced and researched and have a lot of depth to them. NoClip then recently released a brand new documentary on Microsoft Flight Simulator, which contains some great interviews with Asobo Studio. I highly recommend this video. It is linked in the video description, so do go check it out. That then brings us to an end of this video. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.